Okay, today we'll be learning how to solve equations. This should be a review from Algebra 1, and it's a little bit of geometry. So, first thing that we're going to do, we're always going to work in the same order. I have 4 steps here. So the first thing is going to be combine any like terms, or distribute. Again, like terms are things like 3x and 2x combined together to give me 5x. Add the coefficients, leave the variable the same. Also, 3 and 2 are both constant terms, so when I add those together, I just get a regular 5. Second thing that we're going to do is add or subtract any numbers to get them to the other side. What we want to do is we want to get our x by itself, so we'll add or subtract constant terms to the other side. Then we'll multiply or divide to get our final answer. Whatever the coefficient for our variable is, that's what we will multiply or divide by, trying to get it to be a 1x. And then the last thing is we can check our answer to make sure that it's right. So I'm going to do the second one over here on the right hand side. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 to both sides. The reason that I add 3 is that this is a negative 3 over on the left hand side. So to get a negative 3 to disappear, I have to add 3 to it. It gives me 0. Then I have negative 5x is equal to negative 15. Again, I didn't combine any like terms or distribute because I didn't have parentheses to distribute, and I didn't have like terms to combine. Next thing I'm going to do is divide both sides by negative 5, and so I get x is equal to a positive 3. I want to check my work, so I grab the 3, I put it back into the top, plug it in for x. So when I do that, I do negative 5 times 3, which gives me negative 15. And negative 15 minus 3 gives me negative 18. So negative 18 is equal to negative 18. That's a true statement, so my answer is right. With fractions here, it gets a little the same process. Just when I get to my second to last step, I just have to do something a little bit different. So again, on the right hand side, it's a negative 5. It's a subtraction of 5, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Disappears from the left-hand side. I get 1/3 x is equal to 3. Now here's where we need to be careful. Again, it's 1/3 times x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 1/3. When I do that, make sure that if I'm plugging it into a calculator, I plug it in as 3 divided by parentheses 1 divided by 3. And and another way you can think about it is dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3, and so x is going to be equal to 9. Again, I could plug it back into the top for my x. 1/3 times 9 gives me 3. 3 minus 5 gives me negative 2. Negative 2 is equal to negative 2. This is another one that's a little tricky. It kind of breaks our order that we had in the beginning. So if I ever have a fraction bar like I have here over on the right hand side, I have x plus 4 divided by 3. So x plus 4 is the whole thing with a 3 in the bottom. Well, the first thing that I want to do is I want to get rid of the 3 in the denominator. To do that, I will multiply both sides by 3. Again, this is a 3 over 1, so it's a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom. These cancel each other out, and all I'm left with is x plus 4. On the other side, I get 18. Then all I have to do is subtract my 4 to the other side, and I get x is equal to 14. Again, I can take it, plug it into the top. 14 plus 4 gives me 18. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6 is equal to 6. These longer ones, they just get a little bit tougher. The first thing that I want to do is combine like terms. So on the one on the left-hand side, the first thing that I want to do is combine my constant terms, which are my like terms. And on the one on the right-hand side, I want to combine my 7x and my 3x. The important thing to remember is that this 3x is, there's a subtraction sign in front, and so it's a negative 3x. If you get confused, take subtraction signs and make them plus a negative. Change the sign, then add a line. So here, I'm going to finish the one on the right-hand side. I will get a 4x minus 8 is equal to 24. I will add an 8 to both sides then. Get 4x is equal to 32. Divide both sides by 4, and I get x is equal to 8. Again, I could check this. I'd have to plug it in for both x's up at the top, and I would get that 24 is equal to 24. Last one here that we're going to go over. Again, if I ever have to distribute, for this one on the left-hand side, I've got a 3 times a parentheses, so I'm going to distribute my 3. So I get 5x plus 3x plus 12 equals 28. On the other side, this one's the one that kind of messes people up sometimes. Again, I've got a negative sign in front of a parentheses. We're going to consider that as a -1. So again, change the sign, add a line, that's a -1, and I can distribute it to both the terms inside. So I get 10x minus 3x minus 12 equals 30. Again, -1 times 3x gives me -3x, -1 times 12 gives me -12. Then I can combine my like terms and then solve the rest of the way. And I'll point this out. Made some mistakes here. Whenever, again, it's a 4x minus 3 times x minus 2. Again, these negative signs, change the sign, add a line. It has to be a -3. Subtraction of 3 is the same thing as a -3. Then I can distribute and go 4x minus 3x plus 6 is equal to 21. Again, it's -3 times x, which gives me -3x. -3 times -2 gives me a positive 6. Combine like terms and then finish. And there's the homework.